Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and specifically welcome back to the last stand of the Germans. And as you can see on this map, you might be already trying to figure out what kind of a tale I'm going to be showing today. Our hero, or our antagonist of this battle, however you want to call it, is the E25. This is a tier 7 filthy premium overpowered tank that is overpowered for a variety of reasons. Firstly, it has kind of like tier 9 tank destroyer damage per minute at tier 7 at 2,700. Next, it's really fast. After that, it's got amazing camo, but not for the reasons that most tanks have traditionally amazing camo inside World of Tanks. And to round it all off, it also has preferential matchmaking. And so this means that you can get to the front quickly and absolutely rip and tear into your opponents. Now, the real reason why this vehicle is crazy overpowered is because of the camo. Although there are some people who still don't use it, at least to its optimal efficiency, at least in my opinion. Now, back in the day, tank destroyers had a class-based bonus where they lost less camo after firing than any of the other classes back in the game. That's right, for the first few years of World of Tanks, at least on the European server, and all the other servers as well, but remember the Russians had the game for 6 months more than us, so it's kind of like a few years plus 6 months, right? All the tank destroyers, when they fired, they lost less camo, and it was quite extreme. We're talking about now that when you fire, depending on the caliber of your gun, you lose about 20% of your camo when you're playing a medium tank or a tank destroyer with a 105mm caliber gun. Now, it scales. If you've got a really big gun, I guess Wargaming is suggesting it's going to create a huge muzzle flash, which then makes you lose more of your camo rating. And when you have a smaller caliber gun, like the E75, with its 75mm at tier 7, which is quite high for such a low caliber gun, then you lose less of your camo. So the E25, back in the day, and still to this day, loses 65% of its camo when it fires. So it retains 35% of all of its camo from when it's either stationary or when it's on its move, which is a different value when it is firing, which is absolutely outrageous. When you compare this to an equal tier tank destroyer currently, like the Jagdpanther for example, that vehicle retains 20% of its camo. So this vehicle is literally packing kind of like over 50% more camo when firing than an equal tier TD. And so all of the tank destroyers, Wargaming decided back in the day, they were overpowered because nobody was spotting any of the TDs after they fired, and so they removed that mechanic. However, of course, as a premium vehicle, Wargaming couldn't nerf the E25, and so it still has that overpowered class-based bonus where you have extra camo after firing. Now, full disclosure, I might have been role-playing a little bit too much here, if you see in the chat. I'm all-capsing, fall back to the hill, defend the hill, all is lost. And if you're wondering why I'm being so dramatic in this game, firstly, I thought it would actually be a winning tactic, because I don't think we could hold back the enemy once they managed to get to that position. But also, I was really tired. I think I've been streaming for about 12 hours, and I think that all my brain can handle after 12 hours of World of Tanks is like simple tactics. And trust me, it doesn't get any more simple in World of Tanks than sitting in a bush, activating your camo net, and firing with the E25. Now you might be thinking, camo net, Quacky Babs, you always tell us that camo nets are for noobs. And yes, they are for the vast majority of players. Or should I say, the vast majority of tanks. Oh god, don't think that just because you're special that you could use your camo net. Although, you know what, play the game however you want. It's up to you. But here's the thing. Remember, because the E25 loses so much less camo than all of the other tanks, if you have a camo net while you're firing, you've actually got 5% more camo because the base camo rating would have been 15. And so now you start to get to some insane levels that when you're firing in an E25, that you actually still have, with my build here, about 26% camo while you're firing, as long as you wait for the camo net to activate. And you can hear the stunk, or whatever it is, the camo net being draped over the vehicle as the crew quickly jump out and throw it over in a second's notice to be able to get ready. However, we don't have time to focus on that. Because I figure that right now, there's no point in me being up on the hill with the amazing camo and having the Scorpion, who doesn't have the amazing camo, but actually has the more flexible turret, to be sitting at the back. So I try and communicate with my Scorpion here. I say, Scorpion, changes positions. I have better camp. I guess I meant to say camo, but I wrote camo. You go hill. I have epic camop. Mate, go hill. And to be fair, the Scorpion actually figured out what we were doing. And you know what? A huge, massive respect to Boylo Katarin for actually listening and going hill here. Because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the final stand of the Germans. 2 German tank destroyers against, is that 8 tanks on the enemy team. It's a 2 versus 8 scenario. We have 1,500 hit points and they have 5,076 at least that we saw. And considering that they were all pretty much in our render distance, I think that's what they actually have. I say, we go this, bud. Dude, you can see I can't even type after 12 hours of World of Tanks. Spot them. As if that's some kind of amazing tactic. But let's get back to the E25. I have over 26% camo while firing. Let that sink in for a second. That is the equivalent of a fairly sneaky medium tank just sitting in a bush. That's wild. So, if you were... the way that it works is that if a medium tank could sit in here and not be spotted when it's not firing, the E25 can fire in the same position without being spotted. Because the way that bushes work in World of Tanks is they actually add on to the camo value. So, for example, if you've got like 50% camo when you're sitting still, then depending on the bush, I think it can be 25 or 50. And so you can basically force your opponents to proxy spot you. However, because the E25 can get the only tank in the game that can really get such outrageous camo while firing, I can just sit here and I can fire without getting spotted. And just like that, the enemies have waltzed right into our trap. We finish off the T-29. We finish off the Type 58. Boylo on our team, Katarin, manages to finish off a vehicle as they're coming up on the hill. And I go, ha 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 ha. And Boyo, like an evil German. Germans aren't evil. Well, I mean, in this kind of a context, I think we are, because we are playing a filthy, overpowered vehicle just sitting at the back and watching. The Scorpion presses affirmative, and the Tiger says, "Camo, yes, but can't spot mouse in a hairdresser shop." Okay, well, I think the Scorpion is actually managing to spot the mouse in the hairdresser shop. You can see another German wanting to, like, pitch in with a joke and then realize that Germans don't have humor, right? Oh, dear. Alright, I just ruined the comment section, or at least I made it better for pretty much most nations. I'm sorry, Germany. You know I love you, especially when I get to play these filthy tanks at the end of an evening. So we're blind firing some shells there at the BZ-58. Boylo, Katarin on top of the hill, finishes off the BZ-58, and suddenly we have changed kind of like a game that we were down by 3,000 hit points and down in a 2 versus 8 scenario to now being in a 2 versus 2 with oh so much more opportunity. Okay, so I tell my friend Boyo there that I'm going to be able to go and get this Dickomax, come right forwards, nail him on the move, because when you reload in pretty much about 2 seconds, it doesn't even matter. And I invite... Oh no, no. The Germans are getting stronger as they're now platooning together. This is outrageous. And also, you know, the Tiger, who said you couldn't see a mouse inside a hairdresser, says nice defense. And yeah... I think this was a nice defense. This was absolutely filthy. And while I wouldn't recommend that you go and sit on the hill from the very start of the game, you know what? 12 hours of World of Tanks can lower my IQ to a point where I think it's all that I could think of. Plus, this is the perfect tank for it. I think it was a good opportunity to showcase for the stream and also hopefully for YouTube just how outrageous the camera rating of this vehicle is when you have it set up like this. I tell my Scorpion friend on the team, I will tank for you. Now, I could kill this Tiger, but look, Germany is fair, right? We've got to allow my friend in the Scorpion to be able to finish off the Tiger, and then we both get 5 kills. That's right, I was willing to sacrifice the Top Gun there because getting 5 kills apiece, I think it meant so much more to me than getting a Top Gun in this round of World of Tanks. And so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. What happens when one sneaky German tank abuses bushes with another, not so sneaky, but very flexible German tank? Yeah, a 2 versus 8 is taken down. And I didn't realize that role-playing in World of Tanks would be so effective, at least when you've got a super competent teammate, like Katerin on your team. So this wasn't quite an ace tanker, I guess because we weren't spotting for ourselves, but 1,359 base experience still isn't bad. We managed to get a high caliber for that 3,856 damage, of which pretty much most of it was done at the end using the outrageous camo this vehicle has. And I guess I just spammed gold, wanting to win really badly, but we still make an 18,000 credits profit. As of course, this is a premium tank, so it can afford to do so. And it's one of the only downsides of the tank is the low pen. And so E25s do end up spamming a lot of gold when they don't get into a nice matchup, which isn't all that often, as it does have preferential matchmaking. And possibly the medal that I'm most proud of in this game, this was a true Brothers-in-Arms medal. Even though I invited Boylo Katerin a little bit later than I probably should have. Look, we were in a platoon pretty much the whole time after they listened to my suggestion to take the hill, but that position switch, that was game winning. And usually a lot of players wouldn't want to work together, wouldn't want to switch positions, but we both significantly benefited from this with 5 kills a pop at the end of this battle. If you have an E25 out there, I thoroughly recommend setting it up to take the field mod that improves its camo reduction after firing, whack a camo net on it, and just blaze away at your opponents. And think of it like this. Anywhere that you could hide a fairly sneaky medium tank, you can shoot with in an E25. And this is one of the vehicles that Wargaming really need to look into nerfing in the future, because it's preventing them from adding possibly other field mods or other crew skills into the game, as their terrible policy of not nerfing premium tanks is now leaving them unable to actually add new things and develop their game 10 years later after the mistake that they made. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was the last stand of the Germans. I really hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video, oh my god, are you watching this video as it is released on a Friday, and it is time for my stream? I'm sorry, I can't keep going with this. So yeah, tune in on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby and come and get yourself some tasty drops so that you can get closer towards your T14 heavy tank. Or you could pick the German medium, although I wouldn't recommend it. And so, really looking forward to seeing you all live right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thanks so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.